Good evening. My name is Jerry Ferguson, and I wanted to welcome you to the beginning of International 113. For many of you, this may be your first class at the university, and I felt that it might take a few minutes just to explain some of the mechanics of the classroom and answer some general questions and give you an opportunity to become more familiar with myself and the university. For those of you that are new, what you see on the screen currently is the home page as it appears when you first sign into class. If you'll notice over here under My Instructor, if you click there, the screen will open up and give you access to a biography that gives you some information about myself. This is done so that you can get a flavor for my background and where my obvious experience and interests are, and even some of my unintentional biases. As you'll see, I've been in business for probably 40 years, and between 30 years of active and reserve Navy and corporate America to a CEO $1.6 billion corporation, I've had a good amount of experience relating to the international marketplace. So basically, I'm looking forward to working with each of you, and hopefully I can provide some real-world examples to what the material will show in the classroom. As most of you will want to know, what do I need to do to get started? And the first thing I recommend is that you go into the announcements and become familiar with the material that I've placed here for the purposes of making you familiar with the classroom. You'll see several notices this week that talk about the course in general and the deliverables of those courses, the course material. This course, you'll be working on a presentation style project throughout the course, and each week helps you to build the elements relative to that. So I would recommend as soon as possible that you get in and read the material that I've presented there for you for the purposes of doctrination, if for no other reason. I also want to bring to your attention specifically the post that you'll find there, which I have here on the screen, that talks about the course material. And this course will be dealing with a lot of what's going to be new information for many of you, and for that reason you want to make sure you have access to the textbook as well as the online learning information for my management lab. So in both cases you need to subscribe to those as soon as possible and get your hands on the textbook so that you can get into the material immediately. Because in the first week we're going to start working on your project for the course, which has a weekly element that's involved in your discussion questions, and therefore you'll need access to that material. So the announcements are critical. I'm going to take you through, again, because many of you, this will be your first time using an online education system, especially here at the university. So I just want to show you the mechanics of where your material is and how to best find it. So start by getting familiar with the site. There's nothing you can break. If something gets frustrating for you, all you have to do is drop me a note or the help desk, and they'll be happy to help you out. But as far as just general information, we've talked about the announcements. Over here you see it says course information. When you click on course information, it's going to give you some information that is going to show you what materials are available for you as a student. Let me do this just to make it easier. I'm going to change the mode to student mode so that my screen is showing you what you see rather than what I see. So you'll have the course syllabus. I recommend you print that out. You'll have information about the lab, the grading rubrics for the course. Here's some links that will help you with some of the writing requirements of a college student, in particular using writing styles and APA formatting and so forth. And then there's some general information relating to disabilities and student services. I want to bring to your attention this note down here about student services that'll help you if you have some general information that goes outside the scope of this particular course about the university. Then if you notice here, it's got the learning module. The learning module is basically the backbone of your course material for this course. So I encourage you to read this as soon as possible. It's going to share with you particularly information relative to the course and the deliverables. It's going to talk to you about the lab that I just mentioned a moment ago and the importance of registering for that lab as soon as possible. It has a very convenient chart here that shows you when assignments are due as far as graded assignments. And then when you get down here under the module 1 through 8, these are the modules that show you the requirements for each of the particular weeks. A module is the same as a week, so module 1 is week 1. So when you click on that, it opens up in greater detail, showing you the description of the module, the learning objectives, the assignments for this week specifically. So for example, it's a good point to talk about the discussion. I'll be showing you the discussion in a moment, but each week there is a discussion post that's required. To earn full credit, it's required that you answer that discussion by Thursday of that week, and then you're required to post it within the thread of a fellow student some type of a subjective but quantitative response to them. What I mean by subjective quantitative, it's your observations of their comments, but you need to get a little bit more than just I agree. And you're required to do 2 of those no later than the end of class, midnight Sunday night. And you can do it any time during the week, but they have to be there prior to that Sunday midnight. And then your My Lab exercise is due again by midnight Sunday of the assignment. When they say midnight, they're talking about midnight Eastern Standard Time. So to be on time, you need to post by Eastern Standard Time. I usually don't check until the following Monday morning. So I tend to give students a little bit of flexibility as relating to that exact moment of ending. But theoretically, the right legal answer is you're supposed to be done by midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then these are some videos that I would encourage you, especially if you're new to the system, to watch. There's a video here on the overview of the Module 1 and an overview of transcripts, or that's just a transcript of the video. And then this is the reading assignments for this week. The reading right here as far as the chapter, the textbooks, and then these are some very informative and critical short videos. This one you notice is 40 seconds, 52 seconds. They're not long, but they'll help you with the material that's due for this week. Then we talk about composition and geographics of business. Here's a video relative to the management of the lab. This is some information relative to the final project. And then the grading rubric as it pertains, I believe, to the assignments and discussion. So each week you'll have this kind of detail to do for your assignment. So as I go back there, then you'll have one of those for each of these. So what I encourage students to do is skim over it in the first week and just have a flavor for what's out there. You can print these out and put them in a booklet if it's easier for you, and then at least try and keep abreast at least a week out. So right now you should be familiar with what's happening in week 1 and 2, just so you don't have a bother. So that is the detailed information as it relates to the learning module. This is the link right here that gets you into the My Lab, and you'll be purchasing a access, and they'll give you a password logon, which you'll use right here to get into the laboratory. I won't show that here. If it becomes necessary, I can make a video for that later, although one of the videos in the classroom that I just showed you goes into great detail as far as how this site works. You have the My Instructor. Then probably the next important, what you've got here on the project, these are the templates that relate to the final project. So there is a project due in week 7. You'll be working on it throughout the course. And what this is the template that they've designed for you if you wish to use it. This is the guide, and then this is the grading rubrics. You can see what you need to do to successfully complete the class. And I thoroughly encourage students to look at that in great detail, and as you do your assignment, use it as a checklist to make sure you've included all of the elements that are required to successfully earn the full points. When you hit the click, for example, on that, what comes back is this document, which is a very lengthy but critical element that shows you all of the deliverables for the various 3 assignments that are due in this course. The checkpoint 1, which is module 3, 2, which is 6, and 7, which is the final submission. And then for those of you that are new to the university, this is the grading criteria that is used. So as you print this out and lay it next to your paper as you write, and you're writing your introduction, if you want to earn maximum points or full points, you need to fulfill these requirements or meet these requirements to get an exceeds. And if this element is worth 3.4% of the final point count. So when you look here and you work your paper ahead of time, your goal should be trying to write your work so that it meets this exceeds requirements area. If you find your work done in this area here, my feedback to you will be, if it gives here, it means that you had a gap between these 2 columns. So if you work your homework toward this level, then hopefully you'll earn full points on all the assignments. Okay. Then as we go down into the course material, let's go back. There is a course tool tab right here. These are some various tools that you may be able to use as it relates to your course. Most of the time these are not necessary. As you go down then into the course material area, you notice it has right here is what I'm looking for. The discussion board. And this is the discussion board that all of you will see. You'll find a general questions and answers in this section. This is where you'll find as I click on the general question link, if it works, you'll find that I have a welcome message here to the class. You click on the title itself, it'll then open the message. I won't leave it here because you can check that out on your own time. You go back by hitting the OK over here in the right-hand corner, and I'm back to the discussion. So this is the week 1 discussion. It gives you a rather lengthy explanation of what's required to fulfill the week 1 decision. Right here, as my announcements state, there's a discussion sample that shows you what one might look like. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick a country other than the United States that you'd like to use as your learning country that you're going to stay with throughout the course. And you'll be in week 1 addressing these issues down here in a PowerPoint presentation that you will upload into this link for the purpose of grading, and that's due by Thursday this week. There's some hot links right here that will help you as far as finding information about countries as you make that decision. And then each week you will have a similar link that will have similar questions, and you will be going out and fulfilling a PowerPoint presentation, which, just to go back here, and I'll open up this link here, sample. This is just showing you the sample of what might one look like. Each of these weekly assignments will help build toward your milestone assignments and your final project. They are actually the input that's going to eventually become your final project. And as you get feedback from me and your fellow students, you'll be able to tweak these each week and then move them into the final presentation template. As far as helping you to pick a country as you work through the assignment, down here in week 2, and there's also an announcement on it in the announcements, you've got this link right here, which is a link that takes you to a site that can help you as far as finding information relative to a particular country to help you try and find the one that you'd like to use. So this is a site that I would strongly recommend, rather than just arbitrarily picking a country, that you use to make that selection. Okay, so these discussions are carried out throughout the week. Your original answer, like I said, is due on Thursday by midnight, and then between any time during the week, as soon as your fellow students start posting, you have to post at least a response to 2 fellow students. And let's go into the discussion itself, and let's talk about that response. So when you're ready to to post your answer, you will do a create thread, and then you will submit your response for your particular question. There are none here, so I can't show you an example there. So let's go back here to the general question and use my general question as an example. So if this was the thread where you were posting your answers, when you're ready to post your original answer, you would create a message and post your answer. When it's time to post a response to your peers, you would go here to reply, and you would click on reply within their message thread and give them a substantive response relative to their question. That's so that we make a distinction between your answer and the responses to your peers. Okay? The deliverables for this course are primarily elements that pertain to your discussion questions throughout the weeks, the two milestones that are required in week 3 and 6, and then the final project in week 7. Those are your major milestones. And your grade center here will be the location where you'll see your grades. I'm showing the entire grade system at this point. Here, there are no grades here because we haven't started yet. But you'll notice that each of these elements here at the top show the grading elements for the week. So like in week 1, you've got a discussion question and you've got a My Manager assignment that's due in the My Management lab. Those are the two grading assignments for week 1. Week 2, you've got a similar thing, discussion questions and My Grade. In the discussion question, I will award you points for your answer and for your peer post. And whatever you earn in the Management lab assignment, I will post here as your grade for that assignment. And that works throughout the course, all the way out as I slide over here to the far right. And you'll see there's the final submission. Here's the week 3 checkpoint and the week 6 checkpoint. And that's basically how the grading syllabus operates. Basically, that's a very short and dirty explanation for how the classroom operates. Some of you may be old hands with it, but I wanted to give at least an introductory comments without running too long to help you get started with your new journey at the University of Southern New Hampshire. And I'm sure that you're going to find the course rewarding and stimulating. My goal is to be here to help you and to ensure that your success. I strongly encourage you to take advantage of that. I am available via email, and if necessary, we can talk via telephone. Just email me a time and a phone number, and if I am not available, I'll come back with an alternative time. I'm on Central Time, and I'm located in Hill Country, which is just north of San Antonio, Texas. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you, and just know that I'm here to help and to ensure your success. I will close at this point and post this in the classroom, and hopefully throughout the course I'll be doing similar recordings to show you information as it relates to the assignments and answer questions. I've enjoyed our time together, and I look forward to meeting you in class next week. Thanks.